everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Monday to you. Taking a quick look here again at Bitcoin. We're just going to jump into some high block capital data and obviously, talk a little bit about the big picture here. Quick little update too. We did recently partner with Blofin exchange. We've got a promotion here up until November 20th. Claim some trial funds there. So be sure to check that out. The reason why I partner with them is just because they're available for the US and Canada with no VPN or KYC requirements. So I'm just trying to bring more options to our US and Canadian members, just because the majority of my traders are in those areas. So just heads up on that. Be sure to check that out. They're definitely a good exchange and they're growing very fast, and they listen to anything that I tell them to. In other words, if you find any issues at all, forward it over to me. We'll get them to figure it out quickly. All right, so taking a look here at Bitcoin. What we want to talk about is a couple of things here. First of all, it's a really, really cool situation, at least in my opinion, because again, the price continues to ascend, right? So we're starting to see this channel here, and this is somewhat of a bull flag type of pattern, right? So in other words, the price action, as I've been mentioning, as it continues to work itself in this direction and stay in this range, the more likely it is to stay. And now again, if you saw me at yesterday's Bitcoin video and a few others, I'm still a proponent for the price action retesting that 30 to 33,000 range. Okay, I still think that'll happen, but it becomes less likely as the price continues to maintain this level. Okay, so just be mindful of that. One thing to also note too is that we did lose, this is on a smaller time frame, but we've lost our ascending trend line, and that is something to acknowledge. Taking a look at the daily here though, we can just quickly note that the 200-day and the 20 and the 50 are all below the price action. We've known this for some time, but the 20-day SMA is working its way up. Okay? So this is the initial trend setter essentially. So if we inevitably get below that, there's a good chance that we'll probably maintain that for a little while, or potentially just stay range bound in this area before we break up again. Okay? I'm still feeling like the price action should continue higher based on the overall sentiment, and this being a strong month of November in most cases, but generally speaking, that's what we're looking at there. So that's kind of where the daily is at. Let's jump into the high block capital stuff. Just kind of quickly note a few things. Yesterday we saw a significant amount of longs got liquidated, shorts got liquidated, longs were persevering, so to speak. And the reason why that happened, of course, because we saw a lot of volatility last night. Price dropped down to 34.4 and then right back up to 35.2. So with those things happening, we got to recognize that there's a lot of capitulation, a lot of potential for the price action to get liquidated. So let's talk about that actually. What I mean by that is that we have a lot more shorts entering the market now. In other words, we can see as the time progresses, short liquidation levels are getting closer and closer to the 35,800 range, which is that tentative resistance level. Okay, that's roughly where the price wicked up to. So that leads me to believe with more shorts entering the market, we have a little bit more strength there, and that folks are less willing to go long with their liquidation levels. Okay, but the truth is we still have a lot of liquidation there, exactly 34,000. You can see that line here. Okay. Now we're going to see that reflected on the other charts here as well. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Let's go ahead and jump into the liquidation heat map first, just so you can kind of get perspective on this. And again, you can see the most recent time frame here. We got about 34,000 is that key level there. I'm going to go about a little bit bigger picture here and just kind of recognize that in the big picture, there's a lot of liquidation at about 27.8. Okay, so that's just something to kind of note. A lot of folks have long positions open from the 28,000 range, which is kind of standard, of course, because that's where the price took off. But if we look in the last 7 days of trading here, we can see we're starting to get a massive amount of volume at this lower level here at about 34,000. Okay. So again, just something to kind of talk about there, kind of give you just an understanding of the fact that if the price comes down there, we'll probably see 33,000 tested because we're going to see a squeeze where the price action shoots down. We have about 120,000 in liquidation at that level. It's not massive, but it's growing. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Take a quick look here at the longs here. This is basically just our open interest, just quickly acknowledging that late longs here at 35,200. I don't know why people take longs at 35,200. They're in the red right now. Okay. So again, try not to be a breakout trader. Yes, it does work sometimes, but there's not a ton of breakouts right now as far as Bitcoin is concerned. Now, with altcoins, different story altogether. The market's kicking total butt right now, so you got to keep in mind, doing pretty well. Again, late shorts here, they're doing just fine because, of course, the price action hasn't broken through that level yet. Okay. So what that just tells us is 35,200 is kind of a point of contention. It's an area that people are really, really focusing on and thinking that, it's a key level. We close above that level, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape to see the price continue higher. In the last 4 trading days, we haven't seen the price action close above 35,100. Okay, just something to note. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the 4-hour time frame, call it a day here. What we want to recognize here, of course, is on the 4-hour time frame, the moving averages are starting to kind of average themselves out just below. Okay, so as we can continue to build this base, the price action continues to grow. Now, if we take a look at the volume profile, we can kind of see, of course, the most amount of volume at that 34,400 range. So 34.4 is somewhat of a support based on volume. We take a look at the RSI. 50 on the RSI is still holding. Okay. Now you got to keep in mind, money flow index is coming down though in the last couple of days. Bear in mind that's a weekend, so weekends are notorious for that. So I guess you could say it's flawed data, but something we want to pay attention to as money flow index continues to come out of the coin, more propensity for the price action to decrease. Okay. Speaking of which, let's take a quick look at the money flow here on the daily. That is starting to come down a lot faster than the RSI. And that's typically the first sign you want to look for with trend reversals. So just be mindful that with us starting to lose that money flow index, this is basically an average of the past 14 days. Now that we've spent roughly that amount of time in this zone, we're starting to see the money flow index come down and the price is still going up. It's usually a sign that there's weakness there at the top. Okay. We also see in the back, and there's a lot of shorts entering the market too. So I think the tide is starting to shift a little bit here. But once more, we got to be mindful that the truth is, as we continue to stay higher in this range, the larger propensity of prices to break up. Okay, just to keep that in mind. Take a look at the cloud here. Really not a lot of confirmation. It's kind of ugly and a bit of a mess. So I really don't like taking trades at this point. We do have a trade open, a short trade open. I've got one personally on my new account with Blofin at 35,000. We've also got a trade open with an average price on our community really close to like 34.8, 34.9. Okay, so we're in good shape in my personal opinion. I don't see any cause for concern there. So just be mindful that anything can happen at this point, but try not to trade too heavy. These are small position sizing and these are low leverage trades. So you got to recognize we're not getting too crazy with our trades here. Okay? All the more reason to be cautious and careful and respect Bitcoin for what it is. If you're going to consider taking a long position, make sure it's a spot position. Add to your position there and just have some lower levels, limit orders available just in case the price does come down so you can add to your position at lower price points. Okay? All right. Hopefully that was helpful and descriptive for you. Thanks again so much for watching. Please like the video if you could, help us grow the community. And of course, jumping over to our Twitter, Discord, and Telegram. Links all down below for that. We'll look forward to work with you. Have yourself a great rest of your day. See you soon.